When a billionaire forgot his wallet, the waitress's heartwarming reaction changed everything. The diner buzzed like a beehive on a Friday morning. The rich aroma of sizzling bacon danced in the air, mingling with the scent of freshly brewed coffee. At her usual booth, Lily stood behind the counter, serving up plates of steaming eggs and pancakes. With her hair tied back and an infectious smile, she was the embodiment of resilience. She juggled it all: a demanding job, her little girl, and care for her aging father, a veteran lost in his own war against the shadows of PTSD. As she refilled a cup of coffee, the door swung open, and in he strolled Oliver, the infamous billionaire known for his detached demeanor. Heads turned. Whispers filled the air. There he was, a titan of wealth draped in tailored clothes that whispered privilege. The regulars, a mix of hopeful dreamers and weary workers, watched him with a cocktail of skepticism and admiration. They could barely fathom the disparity between their everyday lives and the gilded existence he lived. Oliver settled into his usual corner booth, half smirking as he ordered his extravagant breakfast: avocado toast, lobster omelet, and organic berries. He was oblivious to the judging stares, lost in his own world, where connections seemed as foreign as the simple joys of life. But as he stood up to leave, he did the unthinkable: he forgot his wallet. The murmur of disbelief cascaded through the diner. Did he really just walk out? What a joke. Letting the rich get away with it. The tension thickened like syrup. Yet amidst the discontent, one figure stood out: Lily. She felt a flicker of compassion for Oliver. Decisions driven by kindness often come with consequences. She hurried to him as he exited, her heart pounding. "Excuse me," she called. "You forgot your wallet. You can come back when you're ready." Eyes widened in disbelief. The chatter escalated as her co-workers shot her incredulous looks. "What are you doing?" one hissed. "He'll just blow us off." But Lily stood firm, rooted in her belief that everyone deserved a second chance. "We're all human, aren't we?" Before she could react, Oliver turned around, visibly shaken by her kindness. For the first time, he felt something crack in the shell of his isolation. The bustling diner had paused, a snapshot of emotion suspended in time. The atmosphere thickened with tension, resentment swirling around Lily as her colleagues distanced themselves, puzzled by her act of grace. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue. Oliver stepped outside, the sun hitting his face, and a strange feeling consumed him: vulnerability. In the heart of his luxurious solitude, he recognized the profound disconnection from the very fabric of life he could touch if he really wanted to. While Lily faced ostracism, he wrestled with the dawning realization that wealth doesn't fill the void wrapped around human experience. Just then, an unexpected event would soon force their lives to collide once more. But would this chance encounter bring them together or drive them further apart? As the door swung behind Oliver, both he and Lily stood at a crossroads, unaware that their destinies, fraught with judgment and hope, were tightly intertwined in ways that could change everything. Oliver wandered the bustling streets, his mind racing. The sounds of the city, the chatter of pedestrians, and the distant honking of cars created a symphony that felt alien today. For so long, he had been surrounded by people yet utterly alone. Losing the wallet was just a slip, but the warmth in Lily's eyes ignited something deeper within him. He found himself retracing his steps to the diner. Each step felt heavier, the distance between them laden with unexpected emotions. As he approached the diner's entrance, he glanced inside. The scene was as he had left it: Lily still at her counter, a nonchalant smile plastered on her face as she served coffee. Her laughter floated across the room, filling the space with a lightness he had never noticed before. Stepping inside, Oliver caught the tail end of a conversation. A group of regulars whispered among themselves, glancing at him with mingled curiosity and disdain. What must they think of him? He had become so used to shields guarding his heart from vulnerability. And here he was, about to accept an act of kindness from a waitress who probably didn't belong in his world. Lily spotted him and her smile broadened. She wiped her hands on her apron and walked over, filling the space between them with an air of anticipation. "You came back," she said, a hint of surprise in her voice. "Yeah," he replied, a lump forming in his throat. I owe you an apology." Her brows knitted together, intrigue playing across her features. "For what?" "For not seeing you. For not seeing anyone like you in a long time." His admission hung in the air, unexpectedly heavy. Lily paused, her gaze steady. "People are people. Being rich doesn't change that." She was right. The words rang true as he remembered countless times he had shunned emotional connections, burying himself in his empire. In that moment, a dam broke within him, and the weight of the world pressed against his chest as the tears threatened to spill. He collected himself. "You don't understand. I've built walls around me. I thought money could fix everything. But I'm realizing I don't know how to connect anymore. Especially not with someone like you." The diner fell silent around them. It felt as if the world stopped turning. There was an unspoken understanding, a connection that went beyond their starkly different lives. "I don't know you, and you don't know me," she said softly, glancing down. "Still, I can tell you're not just another billionaire. There's something there." That something glanced back at him from her eyes. He took a breath, finally feeling grounded in this moment. "I'd like to know you," he confessed, heart racing at his own boldness. "More than just a diner. Maybe, over coffee." "Sure," she said cautiously, but the warmth returned to her smile, stirring a flicker of hope inside him. "I guess we'll both be learning." But as the moment drew them together, a commotion broke out at the entrance. A throng of reporters burst through the door, cameras flashing like bullets as they shouted Oliver's name. The world outside flooded back into their bubble, harsh and intrusive. "Oliver. What are your thoughts on the latest acquisition? Do you have any comments on the charity event?" Suddenly, the warmth in Lily's expression faded, replaced with a glimmer of discomfort. Oliver's heart sank. I have to go," he said, frustration boiling just beneath the surface. "Wait," she started, but he was already being pulled away, his world crashing back in on him. Could this fleeting moment of hope turn into something real? As he turned back, he caught her eye once more. The connection lingered, but the future was uncertain. Would they find a way back to each other amid the chaos? The cameras continued to flash, but inside, it felt like the dawn of something profound. With all the noise, he felt something stir within. Would he find his way back to her? The crowd surged, a whirlwind of camera flashes and loud questions pushing Oliver away from the warmth he had just found. He felt the weight of their expectations like a lead anchor, pulling him under rather than letting him soar. His heart raced, caught between the pulse of the city and the quiet acceptance from Lily that had begun to crack the walls he had built so carefully. "Oliver, can we get a word?" One reporter yelled, voice crisp against the hazy backdrop of the diner. He tried to brush past them, but they were relentless. A part of him wanted to shout, to break free, to ignore the shouts calling him back into his polished world. But as he turned to catch Lily's gaze, the moment of connection lingered like a soft echo. "I need to go," he muttered again, half to himself. Every step away from her was heavy, filled with things unsaid, and a longing he couldn't quite articulate. Conflicted, he took one last fleeting glance back at Lily, wishing she could somehow see the turmoil within him. Then he was outside, the chill of the air biting at the edges of his coat as he moved through the throng of reporters. Their voices merged into a hum of indistinguishable noise. Each question sent a pulse of irritation through him. He was tired of being reduced to just a sound bite or a headline, a face on a magazine, stripped of everything that made him human, yet amid the chaos, he felt an unexpected spark of defiance. "What do you want?" He snapped at the nearest journalist. The relentless chatter died down for just a moment, as eyes turned toward him. The sheer audacity of his anger hung in the air, charging it with the potential for something real. Your thoughts on the charity event? Another responded, clearly taken back but seizing the opportunity. It's not about my thoughts, Oliver replied, his voice sharp, but softer than he intended. It's about the people it helps, the lives we can change. The confession caught him off guard. He hadn't meant to turn inward. But he realized he wasn't just fighting for another headline, he was fighting for something deeper. For clarity. For Lily.as the reporters shouted more questions, he pushed deeper into the crowd, heart racing. He needed space to breathe, to think beyond the noise that suffocated him. After what felt like an eternity, he stumbled into a side street, the city's energy fading as he leaned against a wall. A familiar wave of self-doubt washed over him. What had he just done? Had his moment with Lily been lost forever? But then he remembered Lily's face, the kindness in her smile, how she had looked right through him. She had seen the raw edges of his soul that no one else had dared to notice. And for the first time, he wanted to know what lay beneath her own surface. His phone vibrated in his pocket, pulling him from his thoughts. A text from his assistant flashed on the screen. You need to return to the office. PR wants your comments on the acquisition. Oliver stared at the message, heat pooling in his chest. They wanted the old Oliver back, the one who kept everyone at arm's length and played the corporate game. But he no longer wanted that life. The realization hit him hard. If he didn't return to the diner, to Lily, he'd be abandoning not just her, but a part of himself that was beginning to awaken. He pushed away from the wall and began to walk. No more distractions, no more running. Underneath all that chaos, he wanted something real. But before he could take another step, his phone buzzed again. A new message, this one unfamiliar. We need to talk about Lily. His heart sank. What could that possibly mean? Would the very connection he wished to build with her be under threat? Oliver hesitated, heart pounding, as uncertainty loomed large. Oliver's mind raced as he stared at the message. It felt like a punch to the gut. He needed to understand. Who was this person, and what could they possibly want to discuss about Lily? Could it be connected to the charity event? Was she in some kind of trouble? Panic swirled within him. He gripped his phone tightly, contemplating his next move. The flickering streetlights cast shadows around him, mirroring the confusion swirling in his thoughts. And in that instant, he realized something crucial. He couldn't let fear dictate his actions anymore. Taking a deep breath, Oliver tapped out a quick reply. Who is this? He sent, the question hanging in the air like a fragile promise of resolve. The response came almost instantly. It's Claire. Lily's friend. We really need to talk. Call me. His heart sank deeper. Claire. He recalled the name from the times when Lily had spoken fondly about her. Maybe this wasn't about bad news at all. Still, the uncertainty hung like a fog, settling somewhere in the pit of his stomach. Without another second to waste, he dialed the number. It rang just once before Claire picked up. Oliver. Her voice was steady but edged with something anxious. Thank you for calling. Hi, Claire. What is going on? Is Lily okay? He felt the urgency rise in his chest. Yes, she is fine. But we really need to meet. It's about her. About her? What do you mean? Is there something wrong? The knot in his throat nearly suffocated him. Not wrong, just I think she needs support. She's been feeling overwhelmed lately, and I don't think she knows how to reach out for help. She cares about you, Oliver. And I think you could help her more than you realize. Oliver's heart surged. The thought of Lily feeling overwhelmed twisted inside him like a sharp knife. I just left her a little while ago. We were at the diner. I know. She needs something more than a casual chat, especially after all the chaos you both just faced. The weight of each word struck him. Lily was not just a fleeting presence in his life. She was a part of him that he had been reluctant to admit. "What do you suggest I do?" "I think you should come to join us. She's at a small cafe a few blocks away from the diner. I'll be there to help, and together, we can get through to her." His uncertainty bubbled up, but determination took over. "I'm on my way." He hung up and started moving, feet pounding against the pavement, determination fueling every step. The reflections from windows and neon lights blurred into a kaleidoscope of color as he rushed through the streets. He had one goal now, to reach Lily, to show her she wasn't alone. As he approached the cafe, anxiety mixed with something else, hope. What if this was exactly what he needed? What if it brought them closer? What if opening up to her freed them both from the confines of their expectations? He finally reached the door, pausing to take a deep breath. The cafe buzzed with a familiar warmth, and through the window, he saw Claire sitting at a corner table, her gaze fixed on Lily, who appeared lost in thought. Stepping inside, Oliver felt an immediate shift within himself. This was the moment. No more running. No more hiding. Would they share their truths today? Would darkness finally give way to the light he craved with Lily? "Hey," he said softly, taking a seat across from them. Both women looked up, and he could see the mix of surprise and something softer in Lily's gaze. "Oliver," she started, but he cut her off gently. "I'm here now. Let us talk." Just then, through the door burst a familiar figure. It could change everything. Would it stir old memories or be an unexpected ally? "Guys, I just got a call," the newcomer announced, breathless and filled with urgency. Oliver's heart thudded, apprehensive, as the door lingered open, their world shifting again. What revelation awaited them now? Oliver turned to see who had just burst through the door. His heart raced even faster. It was Mark, the man who had known Lily since childhood and had a way of bringing laughter into every situation. But the look on his face didn't seem playful, it was serious, almost grave. "What is going on?" Claire asked, concern etching deeper lines across her brow. Mark locked eyes with each of them before taking a seat, drawing in a heavy breath. "Lily, I just got a call from your mom," he began, his voice steady but filled with undeniable weight. "She's been trying to reach you. There's something you need to know, something that happened." Lily's expression shifted, confusion clouding her features. "What do you mean? What happened?" Mark shifted uncomfortably. "It's about your dad. He's in the hospital." The words hung heavily in the air, an invisible anchor pulling all their hopes down. Lily's face blanched, and Oliver felt a rush of panic flood over him, threatening to drown them all. He reached for her hand instinctively, intertwining his fingers with hers, hoping to lend strength. "What? No, that can't be right," Lily stammered, her voice wavering. "He was fine, he was just on the trip last week." "How did this happen?" Mark nodded, his expression softening, filled with empathy. "I don't have all the details, Lily. Just that your mom is worried. They want you back home." Oliver's grip tightened instinctively. He could feel her trembling fingers against his, it was as if an earthquake had hit their world. No one ever prepares for moments like this. It was the kind of news that sends ripples of shock through a person's soul, breaking the surface of everyday life. "But I can't go," Lily protested, shaking her head as if denying the reality of it. "Not like this. Not when I still have so many things, unfinished." Claire spoke up, her voice steady and full of warmth. "Lily, you have to. Family comes first. You know that, right?" Lily nodded, tears pooling in her eyes. She cast a glance around the cafe, its comforting atmosphere suddenly feeling hostile. The laughter, the conversations, the clinking of cutlery, all of it felt like a distant world. In that moment, Oliver felt lost. "I'll go with you, if you want," he said gently, his voice laced with caring determination. "You don't have to face this alone." The words hung in the air, fragile and full of promise. He could see the appreciation in her eyes, but the weight of expectation hung heavily, like a storm cloud on the brink of thunder. "Will you?" she whispered, the vulnerability in her voice cutting through him. "Always," he replied, feeling the pulse of his own heart against the chaos. Mark smiled, even as he tried to remain serious. "I can drive you both. Just let me know when you want to leave." Lily wiped her tears, and Oliver felt a surge of warmth against the chill that surrounded them. They were all about to dive into murky waters. Would this tragedy draw them closer, or would it fracture the delicate threads they were trying to weave back together? As they gathered their things, a sudden thought flickered in Oliver's mind, a secret he had been holding back, something he felt he had to reveal. But would now be the right time? Or would it only add to the confusion? Just then, the cafe door swung open again, and another figure stepped inside, and Oliver's heart sank. This time, it was someone he never expected to see, and the sudden urge for a deeper connection pulled at him, heart racing with possibilities and questions about their future. What impact would this new arrival have on the fragile moment they were about to face together? The cafe door swung shut behind the newcomer, a gust of cold air trailing behind him as he scanned the room. Oliver's heart clenched in his chest. It was Adrian, Lily's estranged older brother, the very person they never expected to see in a moment like this. After years of silence, he had come out of the shadows, and the tension in the air grew thicker. "Lily?" Adrian called, his voice louder than the soft hum of the cafe. There was no humor in his tone. Just raw urgency. Lily turned slowly, and for a moment, Oliver couldn't read her expression. Was it anger? Relief? Disbelief? "What are you doing here?" Lily's voice was sharp, cutting through the heavy atmosphere like a knife. Adrian stepped closer, a mix of concern and guilt swirling in his eyes. "I heard about Dad. I just got here." The sincerity in his voice did little to ease the coldness between them. Mark shifted uncomfortably, his presence hovering like a protective shield as he stood beside Lily and Oliver. "Now isn't the time, Adrian," he said firmly, trying to maintain the fragile peace among them. Lily's fingers tightened around Oliver's. The familiar warmth made him feel grounded, even as the ground beneath them shook. He could sense that familiar ocean of emotions rising in her, anger because of the past, fear for her father's health, and uncertainty about what to say next. "Why didn't you come sooner?" she asked, the bitterness in her words slicing through the atmosphere. "You chose to leave. You weren't there when he needed you." Adrian took a breath, clearly hurt by her accusation. "I know. And I've regretted it every single day. This isn't easy for me either." His voice cracked, revealing the weight of his confession. He looked around, absorbing the collective tension in the room. "I came back because I wanted to help." Oliver's heart raced not just for Lily but for himself too. This wasn't just about her father, it was about their dynamic shifting. Clarity fell upon him like a veil lifting. "Lily, you said you wanted to confront things unfinished. Maybe this is your moment." Lily looked at him, surprise flaring in her eyes. Was this what she really wanted? To confront the estrangement within her family? Or was it too much, too soon, especially with her father's condition weighing heavily on them? But before she could reply, Adrian stepped closer, his expression softening. "I want to make things right with you, Lil. I'm not asking for forgiveness, I just want to be here, now." Oliver noticed a tear spill down Lily's cheek. It glistened under the cafe lights, reflecting the turmoil inside her heart. "I don't know if I can do that," she whispered, the storm of emotions welling up within her. "Maybe you don't have to decide right now," he suggested gently, knowing full well that past wounds couldn't be healed overnight. "Just let yourself feel." The silence that followed felt heavy. Time seemed to pause around them, unforgiving, yet holding space for something new. The cafe walls, once a backdrop of casual conversations and laughter, now enclosed a drama more intense than any they'd known. Adrian took Lily's hand cautiously. "We need to go to Dad. That's what matters right now. As they prepared to leave, Oliver cast a glance over his shoulder at Mark. He saw the mixture of worry and support swirling in his friend's eyes. Together, as they began to step into the unknown, Oliver realized he needed to confront his own secrets, ones he had long buried out of fear. But was now the time to reveal those hidden truths? They stepped into the crisp air, where the weight of their unresolved issues awaited them. Would they be able to face whatever lay ahead together, or would the journey break them apart in ways they could never expect? The cold wind sliced through the streets as they hurried towards the hospital. The tension still hung in the air, thick with unsaid words and unresolved feelings. Oliver could feel the weight of Lily's hand in his, but instead of warmth, it was a lifeline tethering him to her chaos. Adrian walked closely behind them, awkward silence filling the space between the three. With every step, Oliver's mind raced. Was it wrong to feel this protective urge over Lily? She was the sister Adrian had abandoned, yet here she was, caught between hurt and the flicker of something resembling hope. As they approached the hospital entrance, the stark light seemed to magnify the reality of their situation. Adrian halted, taking a deep breath as if to gather strength. "I know this is a lot," he said, his voice shaky but determined. "But I'm here for you both. I promise." "Promises don't mean much when you've broken them before," Lily shot back, her voice tight. The rawness of her hurt spilled over, revealing a torrent of emotions that had been pent up for years. Adrian rubbed the back of his neck, clearly pained by her words. "I can't change the past, but I want to show you I'm different now." Before Lily could respond, Oliver stepped in, hoping to defuse the moment. "Let's get to your dad," he urged gently, raising his eyebrows at Adrian. "He needs you. This conversation can wait." The brother and sister exchanged a loaded glance. For a fleeting moment, the anger dissipated, replaced by confusion and a painful sense of longing. Inside the hospital, the atmosphere shifted uncomfortably. Beeping machines and hurried footsteps formed a chaotic symphony of urgency. Lily's grip on Oliver tightened, and he felt her heartbeat quicken, mirroring his own. "Room 204, Adrian directed, motioning down a sterile hallway. The closer they got to their father's room, the more Oliver felt the gravity of the situation. This was not just about family, it was about coming to terms with all that had been lost. They stopped in front of the door, the noise of the hospital fading into silence. Adrian looked at Lily, his eyes pleading. "Can we talk after we see him?" Lily's face softened just a fraction, a glimpse of the sister who once adored her brother. "I don't know," she murmured, her resolve teetering. "No one's asking for a resolution. Just be there for Dad now," Adrian responded, barely above a whisper, hoping to bridge the gap between them. Lily pushed the door open, and a wave of emotion hit them. Their father lay frail on the bed, machines monitoring his fragile condition. The sight of him so small, so vulnerable took Lily's breath away. She stepped inside, her heart breaking for the man who once held all the pieces of their family together. Oliver and Adrian followed, each carrying their own burden. The room smelled of antiseptic and regret, while directly before them the reality of their family's fractures unfolded. Lily wiped the tears from her cheeks as she approached her father, reaching out to hold his hand. "Dad?" she whispered, uncertainty flooding her voice that he stirred slightly but didn't open his eyes. In that moment, a fragile hope ignited within her. Adrian peeked around her shoulder, his expression a mix of sorrow and determination. "I want to tell him I'm back," he murmured, just loud enough for Oliver to hear. Before they could voice their intentions, their father's eyes fluttered open, and he stared through a haze of confusion and recognition. "Lily?" he croaked, his voice barely audible. Her heart raced. "I'm here, Dad. I'm here." Adrian stepped closer. "And I am too. I came back," he said, his own voice thick with raw emotion. In the heavy silence that followed, Oliver felt the weight of their family's past, present, and uncertain future hanging in the air. Without realizing it, he had taken a step closer. Could they really find healing here? As their father's eyes began to widen with realization, Oliver took a breath, acutely aware that maybe this moment, this frail thread connecting them, was what they all desperately needed. But deep inside him, doubts lingered. Could their father's awakening mend their broken ties, or would it reveal even deeper rifts? The clock on the wall ticked loudly, an ominous reminder that time was slipping away. The moment hung, heavy with anticipation. The room was a fragile sanctuary, filled with the tangled emotions of lost time and unspoken words. Oliver watched as their father's eyes danced between recognition and confusion, searching for the familiar in the haze of illness. "Dad, can you hear me?" Lily's voice broke slightly, a mix of hope and fear. She squeezed his hand tighter, as if trying to anchor him to the present. His lips parted, but all that emerged was a raspy breath. Adrian stepped forward, his face a mask of desperation. "Please, just try to focus on us, on the family," he pleaded, his own voice trembling, revealing all the layers of remorse wrapped in years of absence. Oliver felt the weight of the moment bear down on him, and he took a step back, allowing the siblings room to breathe and confront their reality. Their father was fighting to recognize them, to connect through the fog of medication and despair. It was a battle as delicate as the heartbeat they all could hear echoing in the machines. "Dad, it's Lily," she cried, tears spilling down her cheeks. "I've missed you so much. I need you to wake up, I need you to come back to us." Her words were raw, filled with a longing that cut through the sterile room like a knife. Oliver could see Adrian's hands clenching into fists, the tension radiating from him. A mix of guilt and determination etched across his face. He said, "I can't change the past, but I'm here now. I'm back for you, for both of you." His voice cracked at the end, and in that moment, the three of them were suspended in shared sorrow. The beeping of the machine seemed to synchronize with the emotional rhythm of the room, steady yet fraught with uncertainty. Would their father respond? Would he even understand? Then, slowly, their father's brow furrowed, his gaze sharpening just enough to signal he was trying to piece together who was speaking to him. "Lily, Adrian?" he managed, his voice trembling like a broken string. They were this close to something monumental, a recognition that could ignite the fragile hope they all clung to. "Yes, Dad. It's us." Lily's response was immediate, a spark of light piercing through the clouds of confusion, but then came the question. They all felt it in the air, stinging like the antiseptic scent surrounding them. What happened?" Their father's voice trembled, carrying the weight of years' worth of memories that were bound to collide. Adrian's face tightened, caught between the urge to explain the rupture of their family and the very real possibility of reuniting. "We just need to be here for you right now. Everything can wait," he breathed, glancing at Lily, who was nodding, her eyes glistening with fresh tears. The moment stretched, each second a reminder of the time already lost. Oliver looked to the window, where the sunset painted the sky with hues of hope, orange, pink, and fading blues. He wished for a miracle, for words that could dissolve the years of pain and resentment that in this fragile space, where truths hung as heavily as unspoken love. Oliver felt a pang of urgency in his heart. They didn't have much time. "Dad," he spoke softly, "you have so many people who love you. Let us help you, let us be a family again." Silence wrapped around them once more, thick and palpable. Their father's eyes flickered with emotion, fear, uncertainty, a flicker of hope. And then, as if the universe had shifted, their father's hand tightened around Lily's. "I'm so sorry," he whispered, the apology blooming like a fragile flower in the winter frost. That a knock on the door startled them out of their reverie. A nurse peered in, her expression sympathetic yet professional. She glanced at the family, her presence breaking through the overwhelming tension. "It's time for his medication," she said gently. Amid the chaos of the hospital routines, Oliver felt a sense of dread wash over him. They were just beginning to unravel the knots of their past, and now their father was pulled away into the routine of care, leaving them hanging on the brink of a breakthrough. Would they have the chance to truly reconnect? Would their vulnerabilities be met with understanding, or would this moment simply slip away like so many others? As the door swung firmly shut, Oliver turned to Adrian and Lily, determination burning in his chest. We'll get through this together. But deep down, he wondered, was this the beginning of healing, or just another false start on their road to reconciliation? The sterile smell of the hospital was heavy in the air, wrapping around them like a cold blanket. Oliver felt the tension prickling at his skin. The seconds seemed to stretch endlessly as they waited for the nurse to return. Lily's hand remained tightly clasped in their father's, while Adrian paced back and forth in the small room, his worry manifesting in restless energy. Why now? Adrian whispered to himself, frustration bubbling beneath the surface. Why couldn't he have recognized us before this? Oliver watched the door, wishing it would open to bring them answers, or at the very least, reassurance. Maybe he just needs more time, he said softly, trying to calm both his brother and himself. But Adrian snapped back with a sudden intensity. Time? How much time do we really have? We don't even know if he's going to remember anything at all. Lily, still clutching their father's hand, suddenly spoke, her voice breaking through Adrian's turmoil. He's here now. That has to count for something. It's more than we had last month. Her eyes glimmered as she wiped away fresh tears. We have to believe this is the start. Her hope hung in the air, almost tangible, yet Oliver sensed the uncertainty swirling around them. He wanted nothing more than to buy into her belief, to grasp at the threads of optimism she wielded like a shield against pain. Adrian's footsteps paused, his gaze falling on their father's still form. Sometimes hope feels too fragile, he muttered, crossing his arms tightly. What if this is just a fleeting moment? We can't afford to lose him again. Oliver stepped closer to him. I think we're all scared. But if he's squeezing Lily's hand now, something's there. Isn't that worth fighting for? Just as the words left his mouth, the nurse re-entered, a clipboard in one hand and a gentler smile on her face. I'll need to take him for a moment for his medication, she said kindly, glancing at the family with understanding. But I promise, he will be back in just a little while. Lily nodded, reluctance clear on her face. Please be careful with him. As their father was wheeled out, a wave of silence descended, thick and heavy. Adrian's fists were clenched tight, while Oliver dug his hands into his pockets, searching for any scrap of assurance. But deep down, they all knew that this wasn't just about their father's health. It was about the life that had unraveled around them, the family they had lost to time, secrets, and distance. Minutes dragged by, feeling more like hours. Finally, in that oppressive stillness, Oliver spoke up. What if we write him letters? Things we want him to know. We could read them to him when he gets back. Adrian shot him a skeptical look. Letters? He's not even coherent enough to understand. Just because he squeezed Lily's hand doesn't mean he remembers anything. It could just be a reflex. But if we write to him, we can share our stories, share how much we love him, Oliver pressed, desperation edging his voice. And if he doesn't remember this part of his life, maybe these letters can help spark something in him. Maybe he can piece together who we are. Lily's eyes brightened at the suggestion. I'd love that. I want him to know about the kids I teach, about the art I want to create, everything I hold in my heart. As they rallied around the idea, Oliver felt a sense of purpose take hold. They began brainstorming what to include, connecting over memories and hopes, even amidst the uncertainty. Then, unexpectedly, laughter erupted from the hallway, a sound so foreign in the numbness that had settled in the room. It was a group of cheerful nurses, completely contrasting the somber energy of their situation. Their laughter faded as the door swung open once again. That's when Oliver caught a glimpse of their father, wheeled back in, looking more fragile than ever, but something was different. There was a spark in his eyes that hadn't been there before. Their father looked directly at Lily, and a flicker of recognition passed through his expression, tentative but alive. What's happening? Adrian said, his voice catching in his throat. The moment hung tight, and Oliver felt the flutter of hope return, scrambling to the surface. Could this truly be a turning point? Would this be the moment they had longed for? And as they all leaned in closer, the questions lingered in the air like a silent prayer. What would their father say? What memories would emerge from the depths of his mind? The silence in the room was now charged with anticipation, a palpable pulse beating beneath each of their hearts. Oliver watched as their father blinked slowly, reality dawning like a weak sun piercing through clouds. In the wake of that flickering moment, hope surged, feeding off the dim glimmer in their father's eyes. "Lily?" he croaked, his voice still raspy but somehow clearer. The name hung in the air, carrying with it all the weight of the years spent apart. It tethered the room back to a familiar warmth. "I'm here, Dad, I've missed you so much," Lily cried, her voice trembling with love and relief. Tears flowed freely down her cheeks, each drop a testament to the distance they had all traveled, both physically and emotionally. "I'm so sorry," he whispered, each word a fragile breath escaping his lips as if to push against the walls that had kept him distant for too long. "I didn't mean to," he started, the edges of his memory still tangled in the fog, but real emotions flickered in his gaze, overriding the uncertainty. Adrian stepped forward, drawn by an unerring magnetism to his father's vulnerability. "We're all here now. Just please, stay with us," he urged, his voice almost breaking. In that moment, the abandon of his past began to dissolve. The tension that had built up between them shifted, subtly but undeniably. "I'm trying," their father said, squeezing Lily's hand a little tighter, resting his eyes closed like a man finding solace to embark on a long-forgotten journey. Oliver could see the efforts flickering beneath the surface, the fight to remember, to reconnect. "What is going on?" Lily asked softly, squeezing her father's hand in a silent promise of presence. "We're going to take it step by step." A small smile creased their father's lips, and something relished in the back of his mind stirred as if he could sense the gateway to their love, the start of rebuilding what had been lost. In that sacred space wrapped in emotional warmth, Oliver felt his heart soften. The words he had hesitated to speak now pushed at the corners of his mind. "I think we should tell him," he blurted out, eyes darting between the siblings. "About everything. Our lives, stories that matter." Adrian turned to him, apprehension mingling with urgency. "Are you sure? What if it overwhelms him? We can do it slowly. Interweaving our lives into the conversation, weaving back together our familial bonds. It's part of our healing," Oliver insisted, the raw honesty in his voice filling the tight corners of the room with an infectious warmth. "I like that," Lily said, her spirits lifting. "Dad, I'm teaching art at school. The kids, they remind me of how much joy and creativity can change lives. I wish you could meet them, see how amazing they are." Their father opened his eyes and focused on her, the spark of interest igniting something deeper within. "Art?" he whispered, latching on to the flicker of life she spoke of. Adrian took a breath, diving in, his heart racing, "And I'm trying my best to get my life back together. I've missed so much with you both. I want to be part of it again." Their father nodded slowly, as if each revelation was breaking through the dim haze surrounding him. "I've made too many mistakes," he murmured, looking down at their hands, then back up to meet Lily's earnest gaze. "But I want a chance to change, to forgive. Not just you but myself too." A bond, fragile yet strong, had begun to surface in the sweeping currents of raw truth. Oliver felt a shift within himself. For too long, he had shielded himself in opulence and isolation, convinced he could never truly belong. But here, sharing a story, sharing vulnerability with people who mattered, opened him up. "I know we can mend, Dad. Together. Just breathe with us," Oliver urged softly. As their father listened, deeply attuned to the emotions swirling around him, there was a moment so real, so human, where he finally seized each word, each heartbeat buoying the room with collective courage. It was slowly untying the strands of his past and quietly knitting them back, anew. Just then, the hospital door creaked open once more, revealing the nurse who had escorted their father moments ago. "You have a visitor," she announced, as an elderly woman emerged, a frail figure wrapped in a floral shawl. It was their mother, her tired eyes wide with concern, yet glimmering with warmth and familiarity. "Can I come in?" she asked, her voice gentle yet firm. A bridge spanning years of absence. The room fell silent, caught between expectation and a groundbreaking potential. The atmosphere shifted again, a tidal wave of mixed emotions welling up around them, filled with hope and unspent words. Lily's breath caught, tears blooming anew at the edges of her eyes. "Yes, Mom," she whispered, each sound felt like a promise echoing into the void, and all at once, the quiet chaos reformed around them. From the corner of Oliver's eye, he saw Adrian's face soften as well. It was a fresh start, an invitation to heal. Together, they could create a reality where reconciliation ruled, unshackling the heavy chains of their past. As the reunion unfolded, they stood on the threshold of transformation, the weight of burdens lifting. What had begun as whispered regrets and broken connections could emerge reborn. Together. Unmasking what it truly meant to be family. And in that dim light of the hospital, their fates entwined in a gentle embrace of forgiveness, Oliver realized, they were not just faces in a crowd or titles of position. They were a constellation of dreams, a tapestry woven in heartache, and together they would shine brighter than before. The journey of healing had just begun, and with one heart, they were ready to embrace whatever came next. You need to subscribe now to catch the unfolding journey of transformation. This is the moment to show your support. Leave a like now to help us reach even more friends. Comment below your feelings about this powerful ending. And remember, don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to feel this hope and inspiration. Let's spread the love.